Let's talk about hands-on care. Babies love to be swaddled, and it reminds them of that closeness that they felt in your uterus. It helps them to feel calm, it can lessen overstimulation, and it prevents newborns from that startle reflex that can disrupt restful sleep. In order to swaddle your baby, you'll need a lightweight cotton linen blanket with a little stretch for easier swaddling. A blanket too big or too small that's not stretchy, it'll make it a little harder to swaddle your baby. So look for a blanket that's designed for swaddling if possible. Okay, here's the 6 easy steps to swaddle your baby. I'm gonna hold my baby while I'm getting the blanket ready. You could also go put your baby in a crib in a safe place while you get the blanket ready. Spread the blanket out flat. You're gonna fold down one corner. I like to turn my blanket so that the baby will be face on. Then I'm going to put the baby down face up with the head above the folded corner. Then I'm going to hold down the left arm and bring the blanket across and underneath that baby's right side. I'm going to make sure that the top of the blanket is not going over the baby's face. Then I'm going to bring the bottom up and I'm going to tuck that underneath the baby. And then I'm going to hold down the right arm and bring the blanket around. And make sure that it is not covering the baby's face. And I do it pretty tightly, but not too tightly that the baby's hips and legs can't move. Here's some swaddling tips. Make sure that you can put at least 2 to 3 fingers between the baby's chest and the blanket. Babies should be able to move their legs freely. Never put or allow a swaddled baby to sleep on their stomach. In fact, the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends parents stop swaddling their baby when they're around 2 months old. That's when they're able to roll from their back to their stomach. Some experts recommend swaddling with arms by their sides or hands up by their face. There's no evidence either way that it's better or worse in regards to SIDS. Make sure that the baby spends time unswaddled too, when they're awake and they can move and wiggle and touch and also have skin-to-skin time. You can swaddle your baby when they're overstimulated and they need to be comforted. Keep in mind that my swaddle is going to be a little different than yours. I've got a hard plastic doll and you're going to have a little squishy newborn who's going to fit very nicely into the swaddle blanket. There are also swaddle wraps that some parents prefer for swaddling their babies that have wings with hooks and loop to swaddle easier. Unlike blankets, swaddle wraps are designed for your baby and your partner to swaddle your baby. Carefully read the instructions before using any swaddle wrap on your baby. Consider using a recommended swaddle wrap instead of just a blanket in the crib, because while the American Academy of Pediatrics considers swaddling safe when it's done correctly, it is not recommended for every baby. Let me demonstrate for you how a swaddle wrap works. I'm going to unhook. There's a zipper. I'm going to place the baby inside the wrap. Okay, and then I'm going to zip the baby up. You can leave the arms inside like this, or you can put the baby's arms out. Either way works. Remember, I've got a stiff baby doll that does not want to move the same way. First, I wrap one side over. The side that has the hook and loop, I'm going to do second so that it can attach to the baby. It makes swaddling so much easier, and it's safe because you know that the baby's hips and legs can move freely and it's not going to detach and go over their face. Consider using a recommended swaddle wrap instead of just a blanket in the crib, And while the American Academy of Pediatrics considers swaddling safe when it's done correctly, it's not recommended for every baby. Do not swaddle a baby if the baby has breathing problems, can roll over, or is at risk for SIDS. I mentioned SIDS, which stands for Sudden Infant Death Syndrome. We're going to talk about that in more detail when we talk about sleep and sleep safety. Also, if your baby doesn't seem to enjoy or feel comforted by swaddling, then don't do it. I know some babies that are immediately calmed when they're swaddled, and other ones are just trying to fight their way out of it. So listen to your baby and decide what is right for your baby.